All right, so in this tournament, round two, if you like this sort of content and you are watching this back, welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you guys watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and share. It does help me out. It shows me that you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more. It does help me out a lot. Round two of the Swiss Spring Swiss at the Waukesha Chess Club. I drew the one of the higher rated players in my club, Clark McCutcheon. And this was a good game. Interesting thing about this game is I followed a line that I got from another player in my club who had a game against him as well. And I tried to, my mistake in this game, which is the major mistake in this game, is that I tried to copy and memorize that game and play that exact game, knowing that he would probably go through these lines. And we will definitely go through this. Now, this is the first time I'm playing actual Caro Kann because I'm not into French anymore, right? Tried a different game. Okay, so he played the Caro Kann, and I attacked the knight in the middle, and then we get this exchange. And this is a pretty typical Caro Kann structure. Some of you might question this particular pawn here. Now it's doubled. Now in this line of the Caro, this is actually turns into be an asset quite a bit. And it's difficult because now if you look, I'm protecting all of these squares, which is quite a few squares for trying to infiltrate the king. So my ideas here are to we're going to develop our bishop, castle. We're going to bring our knight here. We're going to bring our rook over, and then we're going to bring our knight back over here. Now, that looks like a crazy amount of information, right? Well, let's go through it. So normal development continues. You want to take care of that pawn in the center. So now it's protected. Develop my bishop. Now I can start to castle. He's getting closer to castling. I have now castled. He gets his knight to e2. Now, why don't you bring your knight to f3? Well, there's a reason for that. So here's a variation. Now, if you take a look, I have taken away these forward squares to the knight because of this f6 pawn. So this knight is pretty much hindered and has no squares to go to except for this one and this one. So, and those aren't really ideal squares for the knight to be on. The bishop also has no square as well, so it can come here or here, and it can also come here, but my bishop is protecting that square. So you can see that bringing the knight to f3 is almost like a big mistake. So the normal move is knight to e2, and now I can pin the knight, but they're going to unpin pretty quick. And the idea here is bring the queen over to battery with the bishop and try to win this pawn. He's clever and stops that from happening. And then they're doing the same thing. So I've got a battery this way. He's got a battery this way. Pretty interesting. So the idea to stop that, though, is this little knight maneuver from knight to d7 and then knight to f8. And it's a really good defensive move. And then the idea being here is we now lock up the system. And this is so solid. You know, nothing's coming in here. The next move we're going to do is this one, and we're just going to have this really good game. Especially if we can get this in. And yeah. And so now, let's go back. So one of the things that I thought that he was going to do was right here after I made knight to f move, knight to f8, was that he was going to play here. And this is a new variation. And the idea being is we're going to kick that bishop. So I was going to play my normal move. He'd play whatever else he'd play. Let's say here. And I would go here, and then the next move would be this one. And we now have this threat against the bishop. We've got this square covered with these pieces. This is coming in. This is a pretty bad attack. Some bad things are about to happen. The other thing is we're going to bring this bishop in for a check and then play here and cause all these problems. So that was my idea. And that's what happened in my friend's game. But they did not play that way. They played here. And so now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do because I'm going to try my same plan, but now he's done a different plan. And now I can't follow that game anymore, which I have memorized. So now I'm stuck, and now I have to come up with plans of my own. So the biggest takeaway from this game for me is do not memorize games and then try to use that memorization in your game. You can study games and learn from games. And it's okay to memorize games too, because sometimes what will happen is you'll be able to recall and be like, oh, this happened in this game, and here was the winning move. That's something that you can do. Here now, I don't have any winning moves, and I don't have any plans. So I am stuck. Now I have to figure out on my own what to do. And I've got a decent amount of play. I got everything I wanted out of the opening, and I feel like I'm doing pretty well. And as you can see, my next move should probably be bishop to e6. I didn't play that. Idea being is we want to limit the queenside play here a little bit. And actually from here, I don't know what the plans are because this is the first time I'm playing a Caro Kann. And instead of studying the Caro Kann and trying to learn some of the ideas from this particular position, I memorized a game, and now there's been a deviation, and I don't know what to do. And now I have to try to figure it out over the board without having any idea what the plans are. So now I'm stuck and floundering. So that's the big lesson to learn. Don't memorize games and then expect all those moves to be played, because there will be a time in the game where they deviate, and then you're stuck and you have to figure things out on your own. And the idea is in openings or coming out of openings is to learn the middle game plans, where you should be putting your pieces, what squares you should be attacking, what squares you should be controlling, and understanding the game from that point of view. Because then I would have gotten to this position and been like, oh, I need to do this, this, and this because of these things. But right now I can't do that because now I'm just trying to figure things out, and I have no frame of reference on or intuition on what I should or shouldn't be doing. I'm completely busted at this point. Now, if you look at this position and you just look at it like as if it was a puzzle, you could probably come up with a couple of ideas and try to figure out how to play from here. I really honestly don't know who would be winning. I feel the advantage is probably to white, but I don't really know. My king side is pretty solid. The bishop can come into h6, and that's okay. There's nothing really wrong with that. But I think I'm okay. Yeah, I should have probably just played bishop to e6 and then f5 and then maybe f4. And continued with the same type of plan that I knew to play and went from there. But, I came up with a different plan, which I think is still okay, but it has to be fleshed out a little bit better. Which is interesting. So I came up with the idea of b6. With the idea of bishop to b7. Now, I don't know that this is a good plan or not. I think this is probably where my first mistake is. Well, my first mistake was memorizing a game and hoping it would just go that same way. But I have no shame in saying that I've learned my lesson. So, and then after c4, I realized the error of my ways, because now even if I play bishop to b7 and then c5, they always have d5. So here's the idea. I'm going to play here, and they'll play here, and now my bishop is locked up out of the game. And I'm stuck. So I came up with a different idea, which was to, if they decide to pin here, I'm just going to take his bishop. Okay, well, they played a different move. Hang on, I need to get a drink. Oh, I've got my water here. Never mind. Hang on one second. So I'm even having trouble coming up with ideas and plans and how to discuss this game because I don't know what I should be doing. And that's the major takeaway from this game in particular. But my idea was that if they push here, I can take and attack the queen. He can take, I can take, he can take. And then I'm kind of stuck. So I didn't calculate this very well. And he played queen or bishop to c3, and which is another move I didn't understand. So now I see him doing this and trying to grab this pawn. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get this and just develop a piece in the center. And he moved this interesting move. And I was like, well, now what? Okay, so he's coming here. He wants to come here, and then maybe there's a mate threat. Okay, I'm scared of that. And I played this rook to d7. And now I'm like, oh no. I've made a grave error. So I take, he takes, and now my queen's under attack. And if I don't move my queen, I'm totally lost. So I should have just resigned here because this was a mistake. And now I'm going to be down a piece. Tactically, I've messed this game up. Because now he attacked two pieces with one pawn move. And that was just, this is where I lost the game. So now instead of playing, instead of just resigning there, I played on. And you can see that it was just a mistake. And at this point, I made some mistakes in my notation. It went on for another few moves. But let's take a look. It went on for another 5 or 6 moves. But I messed up the notation, so I don't know. And I don't remember. It doesn't matter. I have the major reason why I lost the game, which was this move right here. And this was, this would be my mistake. So if we do that, white is winning. And this was a control A. Actually, this was a blunder. Yep. So this lost the game for me. And yeah, it's game over. That was my losing move and lost me the game. So yeah, tough one. Principle of two weaknesses. So the major takeaway from this game is don't memorize games. And if you do memorize games, use them as a reference only. Do not count on them as how you're going to play a game. Because it will ultimately hurt you like this did here. All right. Congratulations to Clark. He won this particular game in very, very quick fashion.